ಎಂದು ಪಾಠ ನಿಲ್ಲದು. ಹಗಲೇ ಇರಲಿ ಇರುಳೇ ಇರಲಿ ಕಲಿಕೆ ಸಾಗಿಹುದು, ಕಲಿಕೆ ಎಂದು ನಿಲ್ಲದು. ಕನಸನ್ನು ಬಿತ್ತುವ ಕಾಯಕವಿಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ನಡೆದಿಹುದು.
Welcome my dear students and my dear teacher friends for this Varadavahini YouTube classes especially for 10th standard. In the previous video I have discussed about unit number 3 gentlemen of RIO en Medio's 6th paragraph. Until 6th paragraph we have discussed in the previous period. Myself Shri Raviraj Itigi, Shri Sheshachala Sadguru High School, Anandu Nagadi. Today I am going to discuss about the next part of this lesson, Gentlemen of RIO en Medio. Yes, you can see the picture which we have discussed in the previous period, that is gentleman, and next we can see the orchard, the duplicate image of that orchard. You can see the creek also there. I tried my level best to create a good picture for you. Yes, in the previous period we have discussed about 6th paragraph. Until 6th paragraph we have discussed. Just we shall highlight the points of a previous period to get to the knowledge up to 6th paragraph. In the first paragraph, it took months of negotiation with the old man to make a deed of selling for the author, because the old man wasn't in a hurry. His house was small and rugged but quaint. The little creek ran through his land. His orchard was gnarled and beautiful. That was there in the first paragraph. And in the second paragraph, the day of the sale, the old man was wearing perhaps an old green and faded coat, that is Prince Albert's as Senator Cotton. He was looking like as Senator Cotton. He wore old and torn, and fingertips showed through those gloves. He carried a cane of skeleton of a worn out umbrella. Behind him walked one of his innumerable kin, a dark young boy whose eyes are like a gazelle. Next, the third paragraph is so simply explained, and we shall move on to the fourth paragraph. Finally, when they got down for the business, the Americans are ready to pay $1,200 for that deed. But on the other side, that the surveyor, the engineer which the Americans and the author sent before to buy this land, it was more than 8 acres across the river. So the Americans are as considered as the good people. They are willing to pay him the twice of that amount which was talked before the scaling of the land by the surveyor, said the author. And the fifth paragraph, the old man felt insulted the manner how the author offered him the double amount for the extra land. At the end he said, what he said? He said, I have agreed to sell my house and the land for $1,200, and the price, that is the price itself. It has been finalized. I don't take more than I don't want to take more than of it. Don Anselmo was generous. By this we can consider that Don Anselmo was very generous because he was a man of principles. It is a noted line in this lesson. He was a man of principles. And in the 6th paragraph we come across, finally Don Anselmo signed the deed. He signed the deed and took the money. How much money? That is only $1,200, which he had agreed before the deed has been signed. Means $1,200. And he considered it for 8 acres of land, but refused to take more than the actual amount agreed upon. Till this 6th paragraph we have discussed in the previous period. Just we have highlighted. Next we shall move on to the actual lesson which I am going to discuss today. That is the 7th paragraph of the lesson. Yes, I will read it now. A month later, here it is. A month later, my friends had moved into RIO en Medio. They had replastered the house, pruned the trees, patched the fences, and moved in summer. One day they came back to the office to complain. The children of the village were overrunning their property. They came every day and played under the trees, built little play fences around them, and took blossoms. When they were spoken to, they only laughed and talked back good naturedly in Spanish. See, here some words are colored, and I have given some words in the bracket. Means that words which is colored, that one is meaned in the bracket. Means you can understand while I am going to read once more and explain it to you. A month later, that sign was signed, and after 1 month, his friends, my friends means his friends means the author friends means Americans. They had moved into RIO en Medio after 1 month. They have replastered the house, pruned the trees, patched the fences, and moved in summer. In the summer they went. What they have did? They replastered the house. Replastered here, replaster I have underlined because that is a fix, means a prefix word. That is replaster, replaster. They had replastered the old house, pruned means cutting the branches of the tree. You can see there. You can see in the picture. A boy is cutting the tree's branches. That is called pruning. Pruned the trees, patched the fences. Wherever they needed, they patched the fences and moved it in summer. Fence andre Rakshana Gode. You can see the picture there. I'll count nodri. Third one picture itala. That is fence. And moved in summer. Summer ol hodru. One day they came back. After a month, when they went there and replastered the house, they came back to the author. Once more, they came back to the author's office. And why they have come? To complain. Complain. After 1 month, complain. Why? The children of the village were overrunning their property. Whose property? Americans' property nowadays. The children of the village, the children of RIO en Medio, they were overrunning the property of the Americans. How? Hege? means property and overrunning their property. You can see the second picture. You can see the second picture. How the children are playing there. That is called overrunning property. Means entering one's property without permission. Without getting any permission, you are entering to others' area or property. That is overrunning without permission. Like this, the children of RIO en medio, they were overrunning the property. They came every day. Not in a week, in a month, or for a fortnight. They are coming every day. It disturbs the Americans. So they came. What the children of the RIO en medio doing there in the orchard? They were coming every day. Played under the trees. You can see the picture, second picture. Played under the trees. Built little pay fences around the trees. They were building the little play fences around those trees. Fences means the structure which closed an area. The third picture shows closing an area, that is called fencing. They were building the little play fences around the trees and took the blossoms also while they were going for their houses. When they were returning to their home, they were taking away the blossoms of the trees. When they were spoken to, when they were asked, the children of RIO en medio were asked by these Americans, why you are coming here? What are you doing here? Don't come here. Like this, if they threatened them, if they asked them, if they said something to them, they only laughed. The children only laughed and talked back to the Americans good naturedly in Spanish, not in English, that too in Spanish. They were not arguing. They are not abusing the Americans, the children. Only what they were doing, they were laughing and talking back good naturedly in Spanish. Some things they were adding. ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನಿಷಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅವು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹಾರ್ಶ್ ಆಗೋಂಥ ವರ್ಡ್ಗಳು ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ಸ್ಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಏನಂತ, why the Americans came back to the author's office after a month? Why did the American come back to the author's office to complain after a month? A question may ask for 2 marks. Concentrate on it. Okay, thank you. Next we shall move on to the 8th paragraph. 8th paragraph, I will read it. I sent a messenger up to the mountain for Don Anselmo. It took a week to arrange another meeting. When he arrived, he repeated his previous preliminary performance. He wore the same faded cutaway, carried away the same stick, and was accompanied by the boy again. He shook hands all around, sat down with the boy behind his chair, and talked about the weather. Means nothing will happen here. The same thing in the before the old man came for the deed of 2 months together later. Now when the Americans came back to complain about the RIO en medio children who were overrunning their property, then the author sent his messenger to call upon Don Anselmo to the office. For that, here Don Anselmo took a week of time. And time to arrange a meeting, to come to the meeting. When he arrived, he did the same things which he did in the previous meeting for the deed signing. He came with the same faded cutaway coat, same type of that worn-out umbrellas stick, and accompanied by the boy. He did the same and came to the office and shook all around who were sitting in the office. Then he carried over the things to that boy who was standing behind him on the chair. And that he talked about the weather and rain and all the things, even they might have talked about the family and other things. Next, I think you have understood the 8th paragraph. Next we shall move on to the 9th one. So sorry, it is there, and 8th paragraph has been continued. Finally, I broached the subject, Don Anselmo, about the ranch you sold to these people. They are good people and want to be your good neighbors always. When you sold to them, you signed a document, a deed, and in that deed you agreed to several things. One thing was that they were to have the complete possession of the property. Now, Don Anselmo, it seems that every day the children of a village overrun the orchard and spend most of their time there. We would like to know if you, as the most respected man in the village, could not stop them from doing so in order that these people might enjoy their new house or new home more in peace. That 8th paragraph has been continued. For the convenience, I have made in 2 slides. Finally, when they all sat in the office, all the things were talking about. In the middle, author broach means raised the topic, cutting all the things, and he entered and raised the topic, that subject. What is that subject? He said, Don Anselmo, about the ranch you sold to these people, they are good people and want to be your good neighbors always. He said, Don Anselmo, about the ranch means very large farm, 8 acres of land that is having an orchard. About that he said, we are going to discuss about the ranch which you have sold, and these good people, Americans, are there. They want to be a good neighbors for you too. When you sold them the land, you have signed for some document and deeds. For several things you have agreed to. You have agreed. You agree madkonidde. While signing the deed, you have did several things you have signed for. ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಿ. Several things ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀನು ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿ ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ಸ್ಗೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಅಂದರೆ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದೇ ವೇರ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಪೊಸೆಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಓನರ್ಶಿಪ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಯ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಆದ ಪಾಯಿಂಟನ್ನು ಆ ಥರ ಅವರು ಹೈಲೈಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಹೈಲೈಟೆಡ್, one thing was that they were to have the complete possession over the orchard, the property which you have sold. ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. Now Don Anselmo, it seems that every day the children of RIO en Medio overrun the orchard and spend most of their time there itself in the orchard. ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಬಂದಿರೋದೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಏನು, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಆರ್ ಓವರ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಅವರು ಓವರ್ ರನ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತಾರ, ಅವರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಫಿಯರ್ ಆಗತ್ತಾರ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಒಳಗೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಟೈಮ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕಳೆಯಕತ್ತ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಆಗತ್ತ ಹುಡುಗರು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಅಷ್ಟ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ತನಕ ಸಹಿಸ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ, ಕೆಲವು ಹೊತ್ತು ಸಹಿಸ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಡೋದನ್ನು ಕೆಲವೊತ್ತು ಸಹಿಸ್ತವೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದು ಬೇಜಾರಾಗಿ ಶುರು ಆಕೈತಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 1 day, 2 day or 3 days, for 3 days they have sustained it. After that they can't sustain, so they came to complain and complained before the author, and author called upon the Don Anselmo, and he is complaining that you have signed the deed on the deed that you are going to give complete possession of on your property to the Americans. But what is happening here is the children of Rio and Medio, they are overrunning it, and they are spending most of their time there and plucking away the blossoms while returning home. So we would like to know if you, as the most respected man in the village, could not stop them from doing so in order that these people might enjoy their new house more in peace. These Americans had bought that orchard to lead their life peacefully. So for that reason, you are the respected person of Rio in Medio. Can you help these Americans by cutting those children coming in or entering in to that orchard and disturbing these people? Like that the author requested the old man. Next, 9th paragraph. See, 9th and 10th are there. 9th paragraph, I am going to read, give you the model reading on 9th paragraph. Don Anselmo stood up. We have all learned to love these Americans, he said, and continued. Because they are good people and good neighbors, I sold them my property because I knew they were good people, but I did not sell them the trees in the orchard. Don Anselmo stood up when this statement was made, before statement was made by the author. Don Anselmo stood up. He stood up and said what he said. We have all learned to love these Americans. These means these Americans, we means here the people of Rio and Medio. The people of Rio and Medio and I have all learned to love these Americans because they are good people. Or good people, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಲವ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನು ಕಲ್ತೇವೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇರೋದನ್ನು ಕಲ್ತೇವೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗುಡ್ ನೇಬರ್ಸ್ ಟು, ಹೆಂಗೆ ಗುಡ್ ನೇಬರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು, ಗುಡ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಪ್ಯಾರಾಗ್ರಾಫ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರು. ದೇ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಲಾಫ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟಾಕ್ಡ್ ಗುಡ್ ನೇಚರ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾನಿಷ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಿತ್ತು. ಹುಡುಗರು ಏನೋ ಅನ್ನಲಿ, ಅವ್ರು ಬೈಲಿ ಏನು ಹೊಡ್ಯಾಕೆ ಹೋಗಲಿ, ಏನೋ ಮಾಡಲಿ, ಅವರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ ನಗ್ತಿದ್ದು ಹುಡುಗರು ಮತ್ತು ಹೋಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಲವ್ ಆನ್ ದೋಸ್ ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಡಾನ್ ಆನ್ಸೆಲ್ಮೋ ಹಿಯರ್. ಡಾನ್ ಆನ್ಸೆಲ್ಮೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅದು ಲವ್ ಅದು, ಹೌದು. ಅವ್ರು ಹೊಳ್ಳಿ ಬೈದಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಅವ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ದ್ವೇಷ, ಬೈತಾರ, ಬ್ಲೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೋದಿತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ದ children, they didn't bother about their blames and scoldings and all. Just they laughed and talked good naturally in Spanish and coming back or returning back to home. So it has been said here, because they are good people and good neighbors to us, I sold them my property. Yes, what you are telling, you have signed the deed. You are giving over the complete possession over your property. Yes, that is right. I sold them my property, but one thing, that is I knew they are good people, but I did not sell them the trees in the orchard. This is the important point. What is the important point? I did not sell them the trees in the orchard. Correct? I have given you the complete possession over my property, but what haven't I said? ನಾ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ನನ್ನ ಗಿಡಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಮವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. I did not sell them. ನಾ ಗಿಡಗಳಿಗೆ ಬೆಲೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. Which the trees are there, I haven't valued, I haven't put valuation for those trees. So I haven't sold the trees, he said. Next, the 10th paragraph. I think you have understood 9th paragraph also. This was bad, Don Anselmo, I pleaded. When one signs a deed and sells real property, one sells also everything that grows on the land. And those trees, every one of them, are on the land and inside the boundaries of what you sold. Somewhat angry, in the mood of angry, author said. ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬರ್ತೈತೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರು ಆಸ್ತಿನ ಮರ್ಯಾನ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಗಿಡ ಅವನು ಅಂತಾನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ somewhat anguish mood, in a somewhat anguish mood, Don, see here the author reported to Don Anselmo. What he reported? This is bad. This is the bad thing what you are going to tell us. When one sells, this is common thing. ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. When one signs a deed or sells real property, one sells also everything. ಹೌದು, ಕೊಟ್ಟೇವೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಂಗ. ಮತ್ತು ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಮನಿ ಮರೆ ಒಂದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮನಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಆರ್ ಸಿ ಸಿ ನಂದು, ನಂದು ಅಡುಗೆ ಮನೆ ನಂದು, ಬುಡ್ದಾಗಿಂದು ನಿಂದಲ್ಪ, ಮನಿ ಅಟ್ಟ ಕೊಟ್ಟನಿ, ನೆಲ ನಂದಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ನು ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಬರ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಏನು ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಇರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಂತ ಅವ್ರು ಮರ್ತು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ನಾವು ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇದು ಇವನ್ ದ ಆಥರ್, ಇದು ಸಿಕ್ಕಣ್ಣವ ಆಥರ್. ನೋಡೋಣ ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ಆಂಗ್ವಿಷ್ ಮೂಡಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ವೆನ್ ಒನ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅ ಡೀಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ, ಒನ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಗ್ರೋಸ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಆ ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಳೆದದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಕೊಡಾಗ್ಬಿಡಕ. And those trees also, every one of them are on the land and inside the boundaries of what you sold. ಏನು ನೀವು ಗೆರಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಸ್ಕೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲದು within that and inside it, everything belongs to the one who has purchased the land. That has been told by the author here. ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನು, ಏನು ರೀ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರಿ, ಮಾರಿರಿ, ಮಾರಿದ್ಮೇ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಅವ್ರದ, ಅದರ ನಂದು ಅದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಂದು ಐತಿ ಅದ್ರಾಗ, ಅದು ನಿಂದು ಐತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೈತಿ ಅದ್ರಾಗ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಡ್ತೈತೆ ರೀ, ಹಿಂಗಾರದ್ರಿ ಅದು ಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಅಂತ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್? ಎಸ್, I admit that. He said, you know, he added, I am the oldest man in the village. Almost everyone there is my relatives, and all the children of RIO en Medio are my sobrins and nietos, my descendants. Every time a child has been born in RIO en Medio since I took possession of the house from my mother, I have planted a tree for that child. The trees in that orchard are not mine, Senor. They belong to the children of the village. Every person in RIO en Medio born since the railroad came to Santa Fe owns a tree in that orchard. I did not sell the trees because I could not. They are not mine. See, what was the answer given by Don Anselmo? He was very cool. Though the author was anguish, he was angry when he was talking in a little rude manner to old man or Don Anselmo or gentleman of RIO en Medio. What happened? What was the reply to the author's statement by the gentleman of RIO en Medio? Okay, which we can see now. Yes, I admit it. ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಆಗೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ, ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತು ದವಾಖಾನೆ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ಒಪ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಇದು ವರ್ಬು, ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ ನೌನು. ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್, ಐ ಅಡ್ಮಿಟ್ ಇಟ್, he said, you know one thing, ಒಂದು ಗೊತ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ವಿಷಯ ಏನು? ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವಿಲೇಜ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತಾರಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂದೆ ಯಾರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಅವನ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್, ಅವನ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದವ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವಿಲೇಜ್. ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಒನ್ ಇನ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೈ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ who are there in RIO en medio. They are all my relatives, and all the children of RIO en medio are my sobrins and nietos. That is the Spanish word. Sobrins and nietos means niece and nephews and grandchildren. That is the Spanish word, sobrins and nietos. And my descendants. Descendants means ಇದು given word ಬರ್ತೈತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕ್ಯಾನ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ given word ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ. A group of people related to family that existed long ago. Given word ಕೇಳ್ತಾನ, ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನ. He is giving a statement that a group of people related to family that existed long ago. Give one word for ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಕೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದೇ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಇದು. ಒಂದು ವರ್ಡ್ ಒಂದು ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಗಿವನ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಸಪ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತೈತೆ, ಹುಷಾರಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು, ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ಓದ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. He said, I am the oldest man of this RIO en medio. Almost everyone here are my relatives. The children of RIO en medio are all my sobrins and nietos and also my descendants. Every time a child has been born in RIO en medio, since I took possession of the house from my mother, means when he took the possession from his mother, ಅವನ ತಾಯಿಯಿಂದ ಪೊಸೆಷನ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಾಗ, ಆಡಳಿತ ತನ್ನ ಹೆಸರಿಗೆ ತೊಗೊಂಡಾಗ, ಹಿರೇತನ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹಿರೇತನವನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಂಡಾಗಿಂದ, who else are there borning in RIO en medio, in those names, in those children name, I have planted a tree for individual children, for every individual children when they born in RIO en medio. I am planting the trees in that child name, he said. You can see the descendants there. Descendant picture ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ನಾನು ನೋಡ್ರಿ ನೀವು. You can see the picture there. ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಮಗ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಮಗ್ಳು ಐತೆ ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಐತಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಅದು ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಕಾಣ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪಿಕ್ಚರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣೋದು ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಅದು ಹೆಂಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. See, he said, what he said, I have planted the trees in the name of the children who are newly born in the RIO en medio when I took the possession from my mother. The trees in the orchard are not mine. So ಅವು ನಾನು ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. The trees in the orchard are not mine. Senior, he said. Senior means Mr. and English only. That is Spanish also. Senior, the trees in the orchard are not mine. They belong to the children of the village. ಹಚ್ಚಿರೋದು ನಾನು, ನನ್ನ ಜಾಗ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ಹಚ್ಚಿರೋದು ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲೇ, ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲೇ ಅದಾವ, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ. So he said, the trees are not mine, those are belonging to the children of RIO en medio. Every person in RIO en medio born since the railroad came to Santa Fe owns a tree in the orchard. ನಾನು ನೆನಪೈತೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಇವಾಗಿಂದ ಅವತ್ತು ನಾನು ಹೊಸ ಬೈಕ್ ತಂದಾಗಿಂದ ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬನ ಬೈಕ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಹೊಡೆದ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾವಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಏನಂತ, when since the railroad came to Santa Fe, from then I started to plant the trees in the name of the children who are taking the new birth in RIO en medio. I did not sell the trees, so I did not sell the trees. ನಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಗಿಡ ಮಾರಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಕುಡ್ ನಾಟ್, ನಂಗೆ ಅದು ಮಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರು ಲೇಟನ್, because I have planted the trees in those names of the children, so I can't sell them. They are not mine, please don't mind, those are not mine, ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲವು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗನು ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೋದು. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪರಿಸರ ಪ್ರೇಮಿ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಲವರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾವ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ, ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಹಚ್ಚಿದ. ಈಗ ಯಾರು ಗಿಡ ಹಚ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ಗಿಡ ಹಚ್ಚಂಗೆ, ಗಿಡ ಇದನ್ನು ಕಡಿತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಗಿಡ ಹಚ್ಚಿದ್ರು ಅವರು. ಇನ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್, ಎವ್ರಿ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್. ಎಸ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ author? There was nothing we could do. Legally, we owned the trees, but the old man had been so generous, refusing what amounted to a fortune for him. It took most of the following winter to buy the trees individually from the descendants of Don Anselmo in the valley of Rio en Medio. ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯ. So for that reason, they thought there was nothing they can do. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. So legally they owned the house, they owned the trees, they owned the orchard, but the old man was so generous. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು, ಜನರಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟದಾನ. ಗಿಡಗಳು ತನು ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಸಹಿತ ತನು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ, ತನ್ನ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಸಹಿತ ತನು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ. ರೆಫ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ವಾಟ್ ಅಮೌಂಟೆಡ್ to a fortune for him. He never thought that amount, double amount, which the Americans are going to give him. He did not think that was a fortune for him. ಏಪ್ಪನ್ಗೆ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಬಂದು ನಾವು ಅಂತೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ರಿ ನಿಮ್ಮದು 2 ಎಕರೆ ಜಾಗದ ಮೇಲೆ 2 ಎಕರೆ ಜೊತೆಗೆ 2 ಗುಂಟೆ ಜಾಗ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಐತ್ರಿ, ನಾವು ಹೊಳ್ದವ್ರಿ 2 ಎಕರೆ 2 ಗುಂಟೆ ತೋರಿ ರೊಕ್ಕ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಕೊಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಹೌದ್ರಿ ತಂಬರಿ ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್ he did not accepted that amount. He did not accepted that fortune giving amount for him. He never took that. He never liked to take that amount, even though the author and the American forced him to take. ತಗೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ no ಅಂದ. ಆಸೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. It took most of the following winter to purchase all those, to buy all the trees from every individual descendants of that gentleman. ಜೆಂಟ್ಲ್ಮನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟನ್ನು ಕರೆದು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಬೈ ದೋಸ್ ಥ್ರೂ ಔಟ್ ವಿಂಟರ್. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬಾಟ್ ದೋಸ್ ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದೋಸ್ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಯೋ ಎನ್ ಮೇಡಿಯೋ. ವ್ಯಾಲಿ ಅಂತ ಬಂತೀವಿ. ವ್ಯಾಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಣಿವೆ, ವ್ಯಾಲಿ, ಹಿಮಾಲಯನ್ ವ್ಯಾಲೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಹಿಮಾಲಯನ ಕಣಿವೆಗಳು ಅಂಥೇಳಿ, ಕಣಿವೆ. ಹಿಂಗೆ ರಿಯೋ ಎನ್ ಮೆಡಿಯೋ ಕಣಿವೆ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ದಸ್ ದ ಲೆಸನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟೆಡ್. ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ಒನ್ ಬೈ ಒನ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೂ ಅದು ಯಾರಿಗೆ, ಜೆಂಟ್ಲ್ಮನ್ಗೆ, ಡಾನ್ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಮಗು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ತನ್ನ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನ ಹಚ್ಚಿ ಪಾಪವನು ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ತೊಗೊಳಲ್ಲ, ಪರಿಸರ ಪ್ರೇಮವನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನವ, ಆ ಗಿಡಗಳ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ, ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ರಿಂದನೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ದುಡ್ಡು ತೊಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಅವರು ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ದುಡ್ಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಸಹಿತ ಅದೇನಾಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ, ಆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಮೌಂಟನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂಗಾಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಭ ಆಗಿದ್ದು ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿಯೋ ಎನ್ ಮೇಡಿಯೋ. ಇದನ್ನ ಹಿರಿಯರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಆಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಗಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಆರಾಮಾಗಿರಲಿ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಡಾನ್ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಮ ಅವರು ಮಾಡಿದರು. ಇದೇ ಈ ಪಾಠದ ತಾತ್ಪರ್ಯ. ಡಾನ್ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಮ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಗುಣವನ್ನು, ಹೊಸ ಆಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಗಳಿಸದೇ ಇದ್ದರೂ ಸಹಿತ ಇದ್ದ ಆಸ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಅವನ ಡಿಸೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಟಂಥವ ಡಾನ್ ಅನ್ಸಲ್ಮ ಆಗಿದ್ದ. This is the lesson about. I think you have all understood this lesson. Very calm and cool. I try to understand you people all the 12 paragraphs of this lesson and summarize them. Next, if you have understood this lesson, if you read the lesson, then you can recapturate yourself. If you have listened it well, if the things are gone in your mind, then recapitulate it by cracking the answers. Okay, answer the following questions in 2 or 3 sentences. First question, what did the Americans complain the storyteller on the old man? Answer I have been given there. You can read it, you can get the answer there. Why did the Americans complain the storyteller on the old man, on Don Anselmo? ಯಾಕೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದರು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ we shall move on to the next important question. Why do you think Don Anselmo did not sell the trees in the orchard? Why do you think, ಯಾಕೆ ನೀವು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಇದು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ನು. Why do you think Don Anselmo did not sell the trees in the orchard? ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾರಲಿಲ್ಲ? Why didn't he sell? ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾರಲಿಲ್ಲ? ಅದನ್ನು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Don Anselmo had concern for the children of RIO en medio. Explain briefly. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿಂತ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಇದು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರನ್ನು ಸಹಿತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನೀವು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೋದು. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸರ್ಚ್ ದೆಮ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ರೀಡ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ದ ಫಾಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಇದು 3 ಮಾರ್ಕಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಈಸಿ. ಇದ್ರಾಗ 2 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗಳು ಭಾಳ ಈಸಿ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಇದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇರ್ತೈತಿ, ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೀವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಹಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಿವನ್, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಮ್ಯಾಲ್ಗಡೆ ಏನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ, 1 ಅಂತೈತಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. 1, ಐ ಡಿಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ ದ್ಯಾಮ್ ದ ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಆರ್ಚರ್ಡ್. ದಿಸ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ವೆರಿ ಸೂನ್. ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜಲ್ದಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತೀರಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಭಾಳ ಈಸಿ. 3 2 ವರ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ 2 ಫ್ರೇಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, 1 ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಾಕು. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ 3ರಾಗ 2 ಫ್ರೇಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಹೆಚ್ಚಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಏನಿರ್ತೈತಿ, ಒಂದು ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇನು ಭಾಳ ಇರೋಲ್ಲ. ಇದರ ಒಂದು ಬಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸ್ವರ ಮತ್ತು ದೊಡ್ಡದೈತಲ್ಲ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಸಮ್ವೇರ್. ಬಟ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿಂಗ್ 2 words having answers or 2 phrases having answers and one sentence or 2 sentences having 1 question. Like this, so easy thing. I didn't sell them the trees in the orchard. ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಗಿಡಗಳನ್ನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Why did he sell the trees? Why didn't he sell the trees in the orchard? ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾರಲಿಲ್ಲ? ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, how did Don Anselmo defend his statement? ಹೇಗೆ ಅವನು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ, ನಾನು ಮಾರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಅವ್ನು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ, ತನ್ನನ್ನು ತಾನು ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕೊಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ. why did this say so? sorry I am sorry. who did say this ಅಂತ, who did this say to, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಲ್ಪಡ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೈತಿ, that to narrator. Okay, like this, one extract for you. Next, this is for 3 more question. If he has asked for 3 more questions will be like this. Don Anselmo and the Americans were generous in their own way. Explain. Don Anselmo and the Americans were generous in their own way. Explain. The answer is given there. ಅಂದರೆ ಡಾನ್ ಅನ್ಸೆಲ್ಮೋ ಮತ್ತು ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ಸ್ ಜನರಸ್ ಅಂಥೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರವ್ರದ್ದೇ ಹಾದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರು. ಹೇಗೆ ಇದ್ದರು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಡಾನ್ ಅನ್ಸೆಲ್ಮೋ ಜನರಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ, ಅಮೇರಿಕನ್ಸ್ ಜನರಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಇದು ಭಾಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಇವು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು, ನೀವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. ಇದನ್ನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಂತೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿದಂಗೆ ಬರೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಬುಕ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಬದಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. At last, the problem of ownership was resolved, but it took a long time. What might be the reason for it? At last, the ownership was resolved. Ownership problem was resolved for a long time. It took a long time. Why it has been taken long time? ಯಾಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ತೊಗೊಂತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ತೊಗೊಂತು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ. You read it and get the answer. Next, the last question. I did not sell the trees because I could not. They are not mine. How did the old man support his statement? ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ? ಯಾವಾಗ ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ನನಗಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ಮರಕ್ಕಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾರೆ? ಹೌ ಡಿಡ್ ಹಿ ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಬಂತು, ಅದೇ ಸೇಮ್. ಹೌ ಡಿಡ್ ದ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಆರ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಹೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್? ದ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವನ್, ವಿಚ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ earlier part of this lesson in the paragraphs I have discussed about this. The answer is also there in the slide. You can read and refer it. Thus, today I am going to conclude the second part. First part already been completed, and even the second part I have completed today for you people. I hope it's so simple and so easy for you to understand and get the story well understood, and also the important questions are useful for you for the upcoming examination, annual examination in June. Okay, thank you very much students for being there with me and cooperating with me. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.